app.tsx and index.tsx. Okay, so let's import React DOM from React DOM and import imr import React, then import app from app and then we need to rfc. So we have this, can have your const app React functional component is equals to function, an anonymous function, then just return h1 hello. If you come here, it's dot app, then now we render dot render react dot strict mode, then we render our app, then we select document dot get element by id root. So once everything is set up like this, then I believe we can yarn start. As that spins, we'll have in our state, majorly what we'll be having will be just a user state, so that when we log in, we have a user, and when we click logout, a user is taken away. So what will we need here? So first of all, we need to, let's check. So you can see the app is working. So let's install packages that we need. So yarn add redux at redux JS toolkit, then React Redux and the Redux itself. So in the meanwhile, let's create some container. Let's say dot name person dot user will have current user is, let it just be an empty object for now. Then we'll have dot action buttons, then we'll have like in the menu, let's add yarn add react router DOM and yarn add react -d at react at types react router DOM. Okay, so as that continues, let's say button dot login plus button dot logout. Okay, then we have here login, then we have here logout. Okay, so I believe we need to have at least 2 routes. Let me just have a login .tsx. So in our app, let's pick these. I paste in the login, then change our login. Export login. So here we'll have our login button, then it will just say here which one. Click the button to login. Okay, once you have that setup, let's see if packages. Okay, the packages are already installed, so let's go to app. Let's say here we also need a home page .tsx, then we just paste the other one. So we'll be using our app for routing, so let's just say home page, then export default home page. Okay, once you export the home page, here we'll have a current user. This was the one which will show us the current user. Then we'll have the logout button. Okay, so that when we come to the app will be using for routing. So for setting up the routing, all we need to do is come up here and import browser router as router, then route, then routes. Okay, so we can pass here fragment, then we pass our routes, router to wrap everything. Okay, so basically we can have let's have this one up before the router, so that we can have our nav. Let's say we have nav link to home, then we have to login. Okay, let's say just login. Having that set up, then we say here routes, okay. Then once you have the routes set up here, what we need to do is just pass route. So we route to path, which will be home. Element will be our home page, component, and just close it. Then we have the login, then we'll have the login component there. So basically everything is set up here. So let's test say button, I guess so. Click the button to login. We'll be passing some functionalities there. So login, you can see the home page, you can see login, then you have the home. Let's do some basic styling so that they don't look funny. So let's just add some index.css, then p0 m0 box size in border box, then let's say dot container, and start with the body, deflex, justify content center, align items center, then container, let's say just padding of 20 pixel. Let's see what happens. So we need to import this into our index import. So the nav, let's style the nav a bit. So nav df gap 20 pixel, font size 20 pixel, color 1 2 3. Okay, we have home, then we have the login. So you can see. So how do we set up this? So let's do the buttons, p10 10 pixel and 20 pixel. At least now they look a bit nice. So let's see, cursor, pointer, believe that's set up. So in the home, so home we have this, and login we have this. So we want a way in which if you click home, you cannot access home if you're not logged in. So let's now set our state. So in the state we need a store, then we need slices, so we'll have only a user slice dot tsx, then here we'll have index dot tsx. Okay, so in the user slice we'll have we'll import or we'll just do it const user slice is equals to conf create user create slice, should be automatically imported. Then we need to give it a name will be the user. Then let's define a type here, type user type, which will be just is authenticated boolean, then string. Okay, then we'll have our initial state, so const initial state, which will be user type, and it will be just is authenticated will be false. Then we'll have the name will be an empty string. So once we have that set up, in here we'll pass the initial state, then we'll have our reducers. So in the reducers we'll have a login, which will take the state, and let's say it will just pick the state and will return state dot user say again will take state dot is authenticated is equals to true, state dot name, let's say John. Okay, once you have that set up, then we'll have let's say logout, which will pick the state okay, sorry, state, then we'll just set state dot is authenticated is equals to false, then state dot name is equals to an empty string. So after we've done this, what we need to do is now to export these. So export these methods, we create variables and export. So logout, then login is equals to user slice dot actions. So these are actions that will dispatch. Then we'll have export default user slice dot reducer. So we'll be exporting our reducer here by default. So now we go to the store. Because I'll be using persistent state, let me just pick some code here. I'll be giving you a link to this. Let me just pick this so that we move fast. Okay, so minus this, just remove some of the things here. So having this, most of these I've just picked from Redux toolkit itself, the persistent state. So we'll be persisting the user reducer, and then we'll have this persister. So more on this I'll discuss as time goes by. Let's now move to, so you can see here we have our state, but there's a nicer way of showing all this. So in Redux toolkit, there's a way you have to dispatch all these so that it's aware of your states. The best way of exporting these ones, so let me just look for it. So in our hooks, let's come up here and pick this part. Then in our slice, I think it's in here. We paste it in here where we have our store, so it will know the return type of everything that we are exporting here, so that when now we create some another file called we'll create another file named hooks.ts. So let's just create a folder here called hooks, then say index.tsx, then just pick these ones, copy these and just paste. I don't know if they are correct. Let's import it from the correct location. So store, then we have just from store. So by default it's index. So when we have this, let's say our user by default is authenticated, let's say it's true, then John. Okay, so when we come to our home page, then we can just import from the hooks. We import this use app selector. So if you are familiar with Redux, or if maybe you are using persistent state, use context for state management, it will just work the same. So let's just say const user is equals to use app selector. Okay, by default it will know how to pick the state. Why is it red? Dot user. Okay, I think I'm using this in the wrong place, so let's have it up there. So we have our user. You can see we can see it has inferred the user type. So then now we can just say is user dot name. How is it any? Let's say a user. Where this error is coming from? Okay, this one where user, we so we'll have our user, so user, then we can access user dot name. Okay, so if we come here to our app, then we can see the home page. Let's see, why is it not rendering? Console. Okay, so one thing we forgot about is about the persistent state. So providing the context wrapper, so import provider from React Redux. Okay, then import store from state store. Okay, then we wrap it with the provider. Okay, so then we pass our store so once that's set up, then now we can go and see if it's okay. So you can see we have current user is John. Then if we click logout, nothing's happening. Let's see in the home page. So we can now import const dispatch is equals to use app dispatch. So this is custom hook that we have predefined. So if you click on this button and click, let's say it should run a function, then say it should log out the user. So we'll dispatch a function logout, okay, which will import from our user slice. So let's see what happens. So if I click this one, you can see user is logged out. So we can say here, if only do this, is authenticated, then display h2. Otherwise not logged in. Okay, so what's up here? So once we have that, so if we come here, we are not logged in, so we can go to login. Then in the login, we can just pick these ones, the ones we have here. Then in the home page, in the login, you can also have them here. Okay, import. So import. So here if we click on then event, then let's say dispatch login. Okay, and we can say in the home page just say if not user dot is authenticated and navigate to /login. Okay, so let's say you go to home page, it will redirect you to login. So if I click login, then in the login, let's say if we're in the login, then you say if we have a user is authenticated and navigate to /home. So if user is logged in, so if you log out, it takes you to login. Then if you log in, then it takes you to the home page. So how do we now configure the router so that we have a protected route? So in the documentation, say React router version 6 docs. So if we go to the documentation, there's this part of let's just scroll and see. There's this authentication. So I believe the authentication. So open stock please. Believe it will. Can see what's happening. So basically we need to just walk you through how I'll just pick the part which I need, which is the protected route. Okay, so it's this one. Okay, so we just pick that, then we come and say let's create components. Then we say protected route .tsx, then we paste that code which we've got from their side. Then we can just say protected route. Okay, so how do you use this? Let's say const protected equals to, then we pass here react dot functional component, then we pass here this object minus this structuring. So use location, let's import from react router DOM. So then we can import our user here. Okay, so we can export default protected route, then we can import the navigate, then this auth, now we pick our user, this one. Okay, Ctrl V, then we can now just import this. So we can just say user dot is authenticated. If user is not authenticated, take that user to the login. Okay, so basically this is how you set it up. It will render children, it will check if user is authenticated, otherwise if the user is not authenticated, then it will navigate you to the login. So that means I can now just remove this portion and this portion. Okay, so if we go back to our application and see how we have logout, login, it's still working, the links are working. So how do we protect routes? So then we come here to, let's say, login, this one, don't need it. So user, I don't think if I'm using that user here, and use selector, I'm not using. Okay, so how do we now protect routes? Okay, it's very easy. We come to our app component, then whichever route we want to protect, because checking at it, you see we render this children component. So what you need to do is just to come to your whichever component you want to protect. Let's say we want to protect the home page, then you just pass protected route, then use it to wrap your component. And so let's see if we try to go to home page, it redirects us to, you can see it brings us to home page, the login page. So if I log in, then I can go to, you can see I can go to home and also go to login. So this is how you basically protect your routes. So basically in the protected route, you get these children, then you pass it, you return it as this, you return the prop of children. So you'll render whichever component has been passed after it has confirmed that the user is really authenticated. Otherwise I'll walk through. I think it's okay. If there's any question, you may drop down below. A link to this code I'll give in the description, so that you can also get access to this code, and from here you can be able to break the code to perform whichever activity you wanted to achieve. So you can also enhance using admin, filtration, but most of this stuff, you see, we just get them from the documentation. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to my channel.